The following program is closed captioned for the thinking impaired.
Hello, you are listening to show number 32 of the Lesbian Mafia, and I am your host, Sandy. Did anybody hear that? This is a professional studio. We don't have any cats here. It's a professional studio we're in. I don't understand what just happened. I was sitting here at the desk, and all of a sudden, he swings open the closet, and I have, garbage bags in there, and he started, just pawing at everything, and now everything is, halfway in the middle of my living room. He started pawing at everything that was in there, like it was, like a litter box. But he likes to go and pee in that closet, too, so he's lucky I don't go in there and take him by his neck. It's love-hate. I'm never really, all in. There's always ambivalence. Oh, this will be another mini. So I just want to ask, well, actually this may be a plea, or I don't know what this is, but I want to know, what is it about Barnes & Noble that makes people feel relaxed enough to A, drop bombs in the restroom, B, belch in the middle of the cafe, and C, why is it that I always end up sitting next to these particular animals that do that? I'm trying to read, and then this man behind me, he just he burped. Fine, I don't care. You know what happens, right? So he's he's sitting with no one, and he's like, oh, excuse me, and he looks in my direction, excuse me, which makes me think that maybe he's burping at me on purpose. Well, I wouldn't have thought that if he didn't do it a second time, 10 minutes later. Because now, obviously, I realize that he understands that there is someone there, right? And I don't want to call out for any double standards, but listen, I'm not a man sitting there scratching my balls. I'm a woman, and I don't belch in your face like a pig. Why should you belch in mine? That's how I feel. If you're sitting in a group of men and you're all scratching your balls, then by all means, burp, fart, spit, do whatever it is that you do amongst each other. But please, when you're in Barnes & Noble, for the love of God, I'm trying to read. I'm trying to read, people. That's really all I have to say about it. Can't do it. Cannot do it. Someone wrote a couple of emails on Podomatic. It's really hard for me to organize these emails and stuff from the Podomatic website and the MySpace, so I forget where and who and names and that kind of thing. Being a people pleaser, you have no idea the amount of stress that I go through when people get upset at me for not answering an email. If you saw what my inboxes looked like, you would say to yourself, how does this person exist? It is so chaotic. I did manage to read this person who sent me a couple of emails over the past few days. She's a new listener. And she said, you know what she said to me? She said, can you please be more radical? I was expecting something more radical, she said. And incidentally, she loved the bisexual show. Of course, I toned it down with the bisexual thing because I know there's a lot of bisexual young listeners, and so that really is the reason why I toned it down. The only reason why I toned it down. But I don't know what else to do to be more radical. I don't hear anybody talking about the things that I talk about, the way that I talk about it. Am I becoming washed out? A washed out fairy? I don't know. Yeah, I tried to take into consideration. I don't conform. I never conform to anybody. That's why I don't, I don't go for the advertising bullshit. I keep this show advertising free. I don't want any bullshit. If I'm telling you about a product, it's because I really use it and I really want you to know about it. But I've steered clear of anything like that. I don't want to become some watered down, like a radio version. For me, anyway, when I listen to a podcast, I want to hear people talking about real shit, But I don't know what else to do to be more radical. I guess I'm going to have to think of something so that I can maintain my radical stance. Don't say things like that to me, that I'm not radical. Because let me tell you something. People think I am out of my mind. The stuff that comes out of... If I was to really tell you how I really feel about a lot of stuff, you would probably think that I had lost my marbles altogether, which I have. I don't medicate. I barely drink, hardly ever. I'm not saying don't buy me a drink if you see me out. Definitely offer me a drink. I haven't even promoted the Lesbian Mafia shots because it's such conflict about promoting alcohol when I know that there are young listeners, and I don't want to glorify something that is such a huge problem in the community. It's a really big problem in the community, so I don't know if I want to glorify that. I mean, I'm really at inner conflict with that whole ordeal with the shots. So I probably will give out the recipe at some point, but when I first started doing this, I asked around to see how many people were, how many people were listening. And in general, maybe 500, 1,000. The straight podcasts were getting 2,000 or 3,000 hits every show. So I thought, well, the audience isn't going to be huge, so don't worry. Say whatever the hell you feel like saying. But, when you have a really large audience, the amount of hits that this show gets, I don't know. I feel like I can't really just, it's like this self-imposed kind of inner dialogue of, what's right for me. At the end of the day, I'm the one that has to live with myself and what I'm putting out there into the world. And you don't know who's listening, at what moment, at what point in their life. You don't know what you're saying how it may affect them, or I'm straining my voice. I am. So let me drink soda and make it better. Soda has a teaspoon of sugar per ounce. So what I am drinking here, well, I'm having Diet Coke, but if this was a regular Coke, there would be 20 teaspoons of sugar in one 20-ounce bottle of Pepsi or Coke or any other soda, which is ludicrous. And unfortunately, a lot of these soft drinks, they provide funding for school programs, so these kids get hooked on these soft drinks, and everybody's a diabetic. So, but I'm drinking Diet Coke, which probably has aspartame, which causes cancer. So if you really start to think about everything, you'll drive yourself nuts, right? I don't think I've done a more unfocused podcast, and I can't remember the last time I've done a more unfocused podcast. But anyway, I really don't know why I sat down to tape tonight. I don't know who I am. I don't know who you are. Oh, I know. That woman told me I wasn't radical enough. I don't know what to do. Why would she say that? Why would she say I'm not radical enough?